Hi, everyone. We are in our Save My Piggies portion of our program, and we are talking to Dr. Michael Dansinger, who has an impactful diabetes type 2 reversal program in Massachusetts. It's also available in Florida for Medicare patients. I think for more patients in Massachusetts at this point on different insurance, but at least in Florida, just Medicare. But it is an offering. We do have Crickett, who is on the line. She is one of Dr. Michael Danziger's patients, and she had come to the Global PAD Association, which is my nonprofit that helps people that have a complication of diabetes, which is called peripheral artery disease, that plaque buildup that, clogs up those arteries and mainly the legs. And diabetes is a factor because even one sugar molecule can scratch those arteries, leading to that plaque buildup. So Crickett is here. Crickett was struggling, right, Crickett, for a while with your peripheral artery disease. That was accelerating. And one of the driving factors was your type 2 diabetes, correct?
Yes, Kim, exactly. Hi, everybody. I was diagnosed mid 2017. I had multiple procedures because of it, a few bypasses in my leg, an abdominal aortic to some bypass. I've been in and out of the hospital quite a few times. I've been
And
working with Dr. Dansinger for a few months now.
really, and so what was the catalyst? I mean, I think before we get to the catalyst of going with Dr. Michael Danzinger, you knew you had type 2 diabetes, and I'm curious, what was the treatment for you? How did your doctors talk to you about it, and what was offered to you that didn't seem to quite work for you?
I was put on a few different medications, tried a few different ones. Some worked, some didn't work. Mostly with myself being accountable. I just wasn't accountable for anything. I knew what I was supposed to eat, what I'm not supposed to eat, and I still chose to eat poorly.
I appreciate your honesty. And so, what was the catalyst to finally say, you know what? I'm ready for some accountability and I'm ready for Dr. Michael Danzinger's program.
Well, I've always wanted the accountability, but having being in Dr. Danzinger's program, he also helps hold me accountable. Like you said, his program, I speak to him every week. We meet for 20 minutes every Wednesday through video chat, and he helps keep me accountable. He helps motivate me, and he doesn't get discouraged when I tell him, listen, I've had a crap week. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. He says that's okay. Everybody's human, and just go forward from here.
Wow, Dr. Danzinger, that is a good question. Everyone has, and I hear it all the time. You know what? I just had a bad week. That's my excuse for falling off the wagon. And your approach to saying, okay, is what it is. You're human. Let's just keep moving forward. That's a really good start that you are here. Let's try this again. And that seems to be a really successful approach, at least with Crickett.
Yeah, absolutely. So you, as a coach, you need the right balance. You need to provide encouragement and accountability, and you can't push too hard, but you can't be too much of a pushover either. And every person responds differently. And so what I'll often say is when I hear that someone just didn't make any forward progress on a particular week, is I'll acknowledge, some weeks are for progress and other weeks are for maintenance. And does a good teacher kick out the students who aren't getting an A? No, they help the C students become a B student, and a B student become an A student, and even the F student become a D student. And so it's through encouragement and staying positive, and by having good concrete advice when needed, that almost anyone can improve.
Cricket, can you provide an example of one of your visits that Dr. Dansinger provided to you that kind of really stuck with you, and ultimately you said, okay, I'm going to create an action plan. I'm going to get this done.
I want to say it was probably, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe our third visit. I think after our second visit, I had called it quits. I was just getting frustrated with myself. I wasn't working the program the way I was supposed to be. I had one more visit with him. I think it was set up by Kim said this and give it one more chance. So I did the last visit with Dr. Dansinger and said, okay, listen, I'm going to give this one more try. I wanted it to work. How badly I wanted it to work depended on me. And I dug my feet in and I stuck to the program. I'm not going to say 100%, but maybe about 90%. And I started seeing results. Not so much with the weight loss, but with my my numbers every day, my A1C eventually. Yeah, so it does work if you want to stick with it. And that's, I had to make the decision that I'm going to do this.
You bring up a really good point about that fear of failure that leads to non-compliance, right? Fear of disappointing the doctor, knowing what you're supposed to be doing, not doing it, and then fearing going to that appointment and owning up to it. That took a lot of courage, Crickett.
Oh, absolutely. And I told my husband the other day, because we had our phone appointment on Wednesday. I was actually in the car when we had the video chat. And my husband was in the car with me. And after the video chat, my husband said, oh, you were really honest with him. I'm like, well, what? I can lie to him and tell him, yeah, I'm doing great. What good is that going to do me? I have to own up to my faults and be honest with myself. If I can't be honest with myself, the program's not going to do me any good.
I think that's really interesting. Sorry to interrupt, Kim, because it takes a while for the patient to trust the physician and the latter, the physician to trust the patient. And I was just thinking about how many times I tell a patient, I've got one guy I've been seeing for years, and every year I say, are you going to quit smoking? Are you going to quit smoking? And he's like, yeah, he never does. But I don't see him frequently enough. And I was wondering, if I really got after this guy on a weekly basis, would he quit? Maybe. Probably more likely to.
Yeah, Dr. Dansinger, what do you think? I mean, that you have been saying is really the key. It's that consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. I also said at the very beginning, right, there's a lot of talk, but if we're not seeing actual results, if we're not seeing improvement in the blood sugar and the hemoglobin A1C, then all the conversations are one thing, but I want to see real results. And Crickett, would you be willing to share the improvement in your hemoglobin A1C? If you don't want to say, you don't have to, but I just would love it if you recall the extent of the results of your effort, even though it wasn't perfect and some weeks there was no progress. The end result in your hemoglobin A1C tells a very important story, I believe.
Oh, absolutely. I want to say my most recent A1C had been done back in October. That was an 11.1. I started working with you in January,
right?
December or January. My next appointment with my some blood work, I had my A1C done was the early part of March, and it came back at a 6.4.
Oh, that is drastic. Is that typical? I mean,
is that on any
really
medication?
That's better than average. So I said, so Crickett's A1C went from like 11 to 6.5, and in 6 months, and she cut way back on starch and sugar and unhealthy foods, and some weight was coming off, and I think your insulin was less.
Yeah.
Than when we start, and that is a much better result than I typically see. I usually, on average, for people who stick with me 3 months, they get 1.5 units, which is, you know, from 7.5 down to
Six.
from 8 down to 6.5, let's say 1.5 units. That's pretty good.
And so that translates to what, about 45 sugar point, you know, the absolute value or so, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
When people work with me, I can practically guarantee that their A1C is going to go down, but I don't know how much. And I know they're going to lose weight, but I don't know how much.
Crickett, your quick, thoughts. Your A1C went down, you've lost some weight. How is that translated into how you feel with all of your vascular issues and being able to get more energy and to move more?
Like I told Dr. Dansinger, I was tired all the time. Like I couldn't get out of my own way. I just wanted to sleep. Now I have so much more energy. I'm not tired all the time. I'm out doing more. Not only did my A1C go down, I stopped taking insulin. I was on 40 units a day, and I have stopped having to take insulin. I still take Indocana and glipizide, but no more insulin. Yeah, and my vascular issues, they're still there. A lot of mine are hereditary, so they'll never go away, but they're not as bad as they were.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Congratulations on all of your success. We got to hit the road. Appreciate your time, Crickett, for sharing your story and your courage and your honesty. And Dr. Michael Dansinger, thank you so much for your time.